All right, so to practice the witness perspective or the control room perspective, we have to externalize ourselves. In order to do this, I came up with this little unique framework that we're going to try together, and it's called dating your brain. What does dating your brain mean? Well, we're going to practice and go through it. We are externalizing our brain so that we can witness what's going on with our thoughts without judgment, that we're just taking notice of what's happening inside of us. So what is dating your brain? Dating your brain is we're actually going on a date with our brain, but it's also an acronym for the DATE. We're going to discuss what each of those letters mean. So first things first, I want you to envision your favorite date spot. Maybe it's a place you go for brunch, maybe it's a restaurant, maybe you're going on a hike. Whatever it is, picture where you want to go on a date with yourself. Then comes the D, duplicate. So you're going to duplicate yourself and take yourself on a date. I personally like to imagine myself at my favorite brunch spot, and I imagine my brain sitting across the table from me. Sounds really weird, really bizarre, but just try it out. Your brain, taking my brain, duplicating it, and putting it on the other side of the table. Then the next step is A, assess. So when I start my yoga classes, I always tell people to assess their current state. Are you tired? Are you stressed? Are you really up and at 'em? You have so much energy. How are you feeling? So assess the state of the brain. Is it really, really chatty? Is it quiet? Is it angry? What's going on with the brain? Just taking notice. Is it really anxious, or is it really excited to be on the date? Just checking in and seeing how the brain is currently. Once we've assessed the current state of the brain, then you want to tune in. What is the brain saying? Is it rambling on and on about how you're not being productive? This is stupid. You need to get to work. You didn't sleep well. Is it complaining? Is it degrading you? Is it complimenting you and praising you for all of the wonderful hard work you're doing and that you're taking this course? So what is the brain saying? It's really important to tune in. Maybe you quiet down, close your eyes, and just see what thoughts come up. That's tuning into the brain. We will practice this tune in portion together in a little bit. But before we get to that, we want to go to E, experience. So I've been on a lot of dates in my life, and oftentimes you rate the experience, right? Was it a nice experience? Did that person that you were on the date with talk nonstop and ask you no questions? Or did they say nothing and it wasn't a two-way conversation and it was kind of awkward and weird? Or maybe you felt like they said something rude and you were like, ugh, I don't want to date this person again. How was the experience with your brain? Were you nitpicking everything about your appearance? Were you praising yourself, so happy to be on this date? Again, how was this experience for you? Were you comfortable with it? Was it a little bit uncomfortable? You can ask the question of, would you go on a second date with your brain, right? Was it nice to you? Or was it just rambling on and you're like, nah, don't want to go on a date with that brain? It's a weird experience, right? This is a weird tool to use, but it's really just envisioning moving the brain, externalizing it from us so that we can just notice what thoughts are coming up and what we really think about ourselves and our situation. So this is something that you can do, once a day, once a week, just really doing this activity. But hopefully the more you practice this, the more that it just pops up in your life, right? So I was shopping the other day and I was in a changing room, and when you notice yourself from all those different angles and you're like, ooh, I've never seen myself from that angle. I had a quick thought where I was like, ooh, do I really look like that from that angle? But I was able to externalize my brain and be like, ooh, why are we thinking that about myself? Okay, let's try and change that thought. We'll focus on changing the thought later, but the most important part is to just be aware of what we're saying to ourselves in order to create a new path and to change it. So we're going to practice the DATE, dating your brain, together in the next meditation video. Does this make sense? Let me know where you're taking your brain on a date. You can post that in the Facebook group that we have where you're taking your brain on a date, or just comment below and let me know where you're taking your brain and how this experience was for you.